Did you know there's something pretty simple you can do to improve how you sound with a band? And make everybody like you're playing more, so you'll get called back for more repeat gigs, if that's what's important to you? Or just make better music, if that's what you care about? And I swear I die inside whenever I see a 99% get this wrong thumbnail. But I sincerely believe most drummers don't use this simple concept. And if you're gonna go big. And last thing before I tell you what it is, because I don't believe in hiding the sausage in 2024. Make sure you stick around till the end. Dude, 2021 called. But last thing, this does not require more chops or better technique. And I'm all over the internet with a lot of the usual play better drum solo stuff, but today we're not doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a concept. Adding levels and textures to differentiate sections of a song or set. Like, a lot of drummers are playing with great timing, clean, good sounds, all of that. But your range of different looks during a set is like, here. Like, think about it. Most verses you're on the snare and hats, right? Some choruses you go to the ride. Maybe if it's one of those we're gonna bring it down moments in the gig, you switch to a cross stick on the snare. And no judgment. First of all, I'm guilty of all these myself. I used to get checked out on some gigs and just play the basics. Second, there is nothing wrong with just playing a good basic beat. That is still first and foremost. I'd rather a simple danceable groove than trying to get fancy. As Matt Wilson, the great jazz drummer, once said, there are 3 levels of handling your stuff on the drums. Functional, creative, and inspirational. And each is built on top of the other. With all that aside, today we're going to look at 6 strategies for opening up a song or a set of music, because sometimes it's about the places you take an audience during an hour set or over an album, not just in a single song. These don't require you to learn one more lick or chop. They're just taste things that maybe don't always occur to us. Oh, I'm Nate, and people call me the 80/20 drummer. And on this channel, we try to go a little deeper and look beyond the obvious. It's like drum lessons for nerds. And today on 80/20, the simple concept most drummers are not using to sound better with the band, and 6 strategies to fix that. Stay tuned. And folks, today's video is brought to you by me, the 80/20 drummer. During this lesson, you're probably going to see a couple of example beats, things I'm playing to demonstrate certain things, and you might be tempted to transcribe them. I'm here to tell you you do not have to do that. We've done it for you, and you can get it for free by clicking the link below the player and telling us where to send it. With that out of the way, on with the lesson. Ever notice how when you listen to music that's been built from the ground up, where the songwriter programmed the drums, they're often really interesting, counterintuitive stuff? Or epic albums from bands we love. Because these suggestions aren't only for modern drummers, Ringo used a lot of them. Anyway, we're going to call these moods. Think of them as extra ingredients you can keep in your toolkit. And I'm going to assume you don't have any extra accessories, like splash cymbals to toss on a snare drummer tom, or tea towels. With all that out of the way, let's begin. Mood 1. Remove the lead hand completely from the beat. Ringo did this on a few songs. But since when is it required to have the lead hand tapping on the hats for the entire song? Removing the lead hand gives you a really nice downshift for a song. I'll play you a couple examples. Here, I'm hopefully using ATM by J. Cole during the verse. This is a song where you want somewhere to go in the choruses, but it never gets that crazy, so we also want to really bring it down during the verse. Sometimes I'll use this mood in a verse if the song feels ambient, and I want to play into that feeling. Or maybe there's a vocal we want to stay out of the way of. Or maybe it's just a moment to relax a bit during an entire set. The other place I might use this mood is if the rest of the rhythm section's playing something driving and propulsive, and I want to do something in contrast to that. It can sound really hip to make the drums sparser. And producers programming drums do that all the time. I can do this with a cross stick, a head stroke with the snare, or a rim shot. Sometimes, if it's helpful, I'll drop the right hand stick and just tap my fingers on my thigh if I want that feeling of playing with the lead hand without making the sound. Mood 2. Move the hands to the cymbals. Now, I'm not exclusively talking about the kind of ambient flourishes that are common before the beat drops, but you can include those too. I'm talking about actually playing a beat, but moving your lead hand to the bow of the ride cymbal and your snare hand to the bow of the other cymbal, whether that's a crash or another ride. This can be a really cool texture for when a song kinda comes in slow, but there's still a bass line or an implied bass line. I'm doing it here, hopefully with Listen to Your Heart by Alicia Keys. Here's another example, Better by Joy Orbison. In the intro, the song feels ambient and like it's building up. Then this really funky bass line comes in. Before the verse, I can play a light beat on the cymbals, keeping the kick lightly on quarters. Then when the verse comes in, I can switch off to only kick and snare clicks, per the previous example. I'm also doing something else we'll talk about. This is also a great move for a breakdown, when a song goes from a loud kind of intense section to something lighter, or from a chorus to a bridge. Hopefully I'm demonstrating that right now with The List by Moonchild. Watch how the change in texture kind of underscores the arrangement, like tracing a pencil drawing with a Sharpie. Now, when the bridge is over, I can mute the cymbals and go back to the kick and snare click if I want. Now you might be saying, but Nate, all these examples sound like they're massage parlor waiting room music from a Bangkok hotel. In which case I'd be like, first of all, that's a really specific image, and second of all, how dare you, neo-soul is the best genre of music. Besides maybe whatever you call Tigran Hamasyan. But I'd also say, not to worry, we shall check out some other genres too. Which brings us to our next one. Which is maybe a little more obvious, but belongs in the lexicon of cool ways to create texture. Using the toms. Oh, mood 3, using the toms. Everybody from surf rock to 9 Inch Nails and beyond has used this age-old texture. Here's Matt Cameron on The Day I Tried to Live by Soundgarden. Here's practically any Foo Fighters song. But I'm not just talking about the obvious. Let's find a random song from my playlist that's hats or ride cymbal or programmed drum beat in the original, and try it with the tom rock beat. Okay, this one's perfect. It's called 2/16. And this sample is pretty famous. It's appeared at Zildjian Underground. The first is about Quentin, young and wild. Brung a child on this planet, he doesn't claim. School chicks using his cousin name and plays a dozen games. Here's an example of if I use a really slow surf rock beat, and it sounds killer. Well, I maybe don't sound killer, but you can imagine a good drummer using the same beat would sound killer. With a lot of these, we're dealing with two forces. Conforming to the song by doing something that plays into the existing mood or texture, or contrasting to the song by, well, doing something that contrasts. Our next mood is something else in this vein. Mood 4, halftime and double time. I'm pretty sure there's an example of Ulysses Owens Jr. innovating this in one of those Drumeo videos where the drummer learns an unfamiliar song line. This was with Nirvana's In Bloom. Here's the original with Dave Grohl's halftime beat. And here's Owens' interpretation. Say what you will, but it works musically. We can go the other way too. Let's pick a classic from another genre. Something like Thin Lizzy's The Boys Are Back in Town. I feel like I played this every summer in Montana in bars when I was on break from music school. So of course you've got the iconic shuffle in the chorus. And this might be sacrilege, but I'm going to play this halftime. Okay, using famous songs might not be the best way to express this, but my point is, if you've never heard the song before, I think this is a musically valid choice. To give more of a neutral idea, let's choose another song from my playlist. Something like Blurred Lines by Joyce Rice. Video creators know this is also a pretty famous sample. Anyway, here I am playing along with the song. Whatever you think of my drumming, you'll probably agree it's a valid drum part. Okay, I'm gonna stop playing and listen to where the drum part actually is.
tell me, how do we define?
Let's go back to Even More of a Blank Canvas, Better by Joy Orbison. There are a million ways you might play a drum part for this, but in this take, I'll show you two. First, here I am playing a backbeat, catching the syncopations with the kick drum. Now I'll have the snare part. Still works, right? One band that uses this really naturally in its drum parts is Foo Fighters. Here's a little of the song Rescued, which Eloy Casagrande also covered at Drumeo. Point of this entire section is halftime and double time is another musical gear. Another color on the palette. Don't be afraid to use it, especially with original or lesser known music, where you're less likely to get a plastic cup of beer thrown at you for messing up a classic drum part. Okay, we've got two left. See you guys, this isn't like an open loop video where I make you wait till the end before making an obvious point. We gave you the sausage at the top. Now we're just discussing how to cook it. And one super underrated way of cooking the sausage isn't even a beat, it's a transition. Mood 5, Terrace Dynamics. Terrace dynamics refers to an abrupt shift between loud and soft rather than a gradual one. Prog rock is great at this, where you have a big build-up with the drums, then everybody will cut out and it's just a guitar line. Tigran Amassian also loves this. Here's his classic, The Grid. Notice how Tigran and podcast guest Arthur Natick play loudly and ambiently until an abrupt cutoff, then the texture and dynamics change suddenly. But hey, not every song is prog rock or Tigran. Fair enough. But you can use these concepts subtly on gigs too. Let's go back to The List by Moonchild. Hear how during the bridge, I'm playing the beat on the cymbals, then I cut them off, then change the texture abruptly. It's a use with care, but it can really underscore the contrast in an arrangement. And it lets Amber Navran's vocals shine through. This is Frogs by Charles Murdoch. If I were accompanying this arrangement, I might do some ambience on the cymbals up until the beat drops, then cut them off abruptly. This is a move that probably comports with the arrangement, so I doubt I'd draw any dirty licks on stage. Ready for a bonus one? Okay. Mood 6. Play the beat on the hats. Or yes, perish the thought on the stack, if you have that. Let's first look at a bit of a fish out of water example, Jamiroquai's Butterfly. We're in the verse, standard 16th note Harvey Mason, Mike Clark funk, right? So what if instead of sticking with the same old during the pre-chorus, we went the opposite way? I've seen bands do this kind of thing when they get bored with arrangements on tour and want to try something new and surprise the audience. Here I am playing the snare until the transition, and now I'm playing the beat on the hats exclusively. Or I can go to the stack. Final song of the lesson, Changing Me by Tom Misch. This is in the arrangement so it'll sound more at home, but listen to how we can use this for the chorus. Clappity snare drum through the verse. Then in the chorus, to thin things out, we can go to hats only, or hats with the stack.
Maybe it's me, maybe I see, but the sea of change.
Bam! And there you have it. I've just given you 6 new techniques for creating extra surprising textures in a song. So that instead of being like this, your range of musical motion during a set is more like, and these are all kind of obvious things right under your nose, but I think that's what makes them so cool. What do you think? Leave me a comment below the player. Am I way off base? And folks, one more reminder that if you'd like a free transcription of all the beats I play in this lesson, You have but to click below the player and enter your email address in on the next page. Dudes, it's been real. Always enjoy these. See you again real soon in another lesson of the week. Let us drum, let the beat drums and drum.